Welcome to the next episode of Revolutionary Talk. We're going over yoga today, and this one should be pretty easy to cover with the amount of experience you two have in yoga.
Yes!
You got this.
I'm excited for this one.
This will be a fun week of content, and this will be a fun episode for sure. I mean, I've had a little bit of yoga experience. I've gone to a few classes. I like it, and it's something I'd like to get into more.
Mm-hmm.
But geez, you guys have way more experience than I do. So, how often do you do yoga, Kristen?
Lately, not enough.
Yeah, you got to start coming again. I was actually told to bring you back to class.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. When I'm in the groove of doing it, I try to go to class or do a practice at least 3 times a week.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's good.
So, I mean, going back to the preventative health episode, yoga is like, as far as physical fitness goes, I feel like one of the best there is.
Yeah, it is. Because you're not putting a whole lot of stress on your knees like you would be with running.
Yeah.
You can use your own body weight for, just you're thinning yourself out. I mean, when you go through yoga, you're putting a lot of your own weight. What am I trying to say?
I get what
A
you're
lot of
trying to
body
say.
weight.
I mean,
Yeah.
even in practice, as far as we've been in it, I feel myself, like you said, like thinning out. My body's getting more endurance based. I'm losing fat, and I'm feeling like I'm doing, circuit exercises.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's more longevity endurance, which is the best for weight loss. Which is funny that you said that. It's actually probably one of the best weight loss methods ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Embedded in simply stretching and breathing.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it's always, the misconception I think is out there about yoga is that you have to be flexible. And
Oh, for sure.
it all just goes back to your breath, right?
Yeah, I actually started yoga to get more flexible and to actually take the time to stretch.
Yes.
As a byproduct of doing yoga, I'm able to concentrate more. I'm able to focus. I feel happier longer. I'm more creative. It's just it's an exponential like domino. You're going
Yeah.
for the stretching of the physical part. And
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the most challenging part, more than flexibility, is balance, which also then taps into the mental side because, holding a pose for like very extensive periods of time is something most people never do. So,
yeah,
that's
and
tough.
the balance goes back to the focusing part. As soon as you're looking around the room, your balance goes like this. As soon as you focus on one thing, it's funny. You don't really move.
That's crazy. So, have you guys experienced from yoga benefits in other parts of life then? Like going back to the focus things, like I have to think a lot of times it's very hard to focus on one thing at a time, but yoga kind of trains you to do that. Because if you're thinking of something else, you're going to tip over.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the class in yoga, you're breathing inhaling with one pose and exhaling with the next pose.
Yeah.
You always have to go to your breath. So it's not very easy for your brain to go off and think about other things.
Overall, it just teaches you to go back to your breath, like you were saying. Essentially, like you have a stressful day, somebody just sent you a bad email, you start holding your breath, and you acknowledge that you hold your breath, but then you start focusing on just breathing again, and then your day gets simpler.
Yeah.
On and off the mat. Same thing, you hit a hard pose or you start losing your balance, your brain's wired to go straight back to breathing. Focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. So many benefits. So on the content side, I know Kristen already has a ton of really good like yoga, photography, and videography. What can we do that's different that hasn't been done before?
Ooh, I don't know about this yet. We'd have to get creative with this one. I mean, what do you think would be the best thing we could showcase with yoga that we haven't done? Because we've done the room, we've done the circle shots, showing you implementing it and working out. What is something that I guess you learned through yoga teacher training that really expands on kind of like we were talking the focus, or even that could be?
It could be focus, but the first thing before you mentioned like specifically, I was like, a community class.
Okay.
Because of how just what you were explaining today, like your experience going through yoga training, the community that you're around, it ends up being people that help to lift each other up. And so through yoga, like even if you go to a class, there can be those poses that you have, every intention to hold that tree pose or whatever that is, that balancing pose. And your ego is just telling you like, we want to do this, but your body's like, you're not there yet. You're going to have to just hold back. But then sometimes in class, I mean, especially before we had to social distance, but we were able to link arms and help each other hold each other up
Yeah.
in tree pose or whatever pose it was. So having that community and realizing like you're not in this by yourself.
For sure. I mean, that's a big part of the yoga kula we're in right now. It's like you said, the community group of just engaging with others going through problems, and it's more than stretching and physical endurance. It's just it's a whole lifestyle mindset. So I really like that. Implement somehow we could help one another throughout the day, and then create a collective video together.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to think on that. I like it. We'll have to play.
Yeah, because when you discover that end of it too, like we were talking about detoxing, we as humans go through these emotional detoxing processes too. And so yoga, I think, helps to amplify, working through, not amplify necessarily, but maybe magnify the process.
Yeah.
And feel like, let's work through this so that we can, basically you're a caterpillar going into yoga training
Yeah,
and then
feel
coming
that.
out as a
I feel
butterfly.
that.
Yeah, all things good coming out of it.
I like that. Yeah, it's a big concept. I'm sure you'll have to
We'll have to fit it
think
in
on that one.
30 seconds. We'll fit it in.
Yeah,
We'll make it
yeah.
happen.
Hey, I mean, if this one has to be longer, we can work that in.
Stretch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
It'll
we'll
be
stretch it.
good. It'll manifest somehow.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
worried about it.
Totally.
Do
So,
yoga anywhere.
Yeah.
hey,
That
could
could
be
actually
interesting,
be.
too.
Actually, now that you say that, it would be cool to. We saw a really cool video Skrillex did. We could do a tape measure from the camera,
Oh,
and then you're
yeah.
doing yoga everywhere, but you're staying on the same plane.
Let's do that.
Ooh.
That sounds
Do
fun.
it at like say Union Station, the Nelson, like all these Kansas City spots.
That'd be
But
fun.
all that's changing is the background as you're doing your. That would be sick.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, cameraman says yes.
there we go. Shout out Spencer behind the screen.
Yeah.
He's right behind you guys.
Flip the script.
Where are
Right
some
behind.
cool shots that we should go to?
Yes, just like that, you throw that idea out, and now we're
Yeah.
Perfect.
on to another track. Love it. So for people watching, say they've never done yoga before,
Oh, you're missing out.
they're missing out. So why should they start doing yoga? Maybe one tip each. Or reason each.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go.
I mean, if we touch on empath, it's really good for an empath to take yoga because everybody in the room is focused on their breath and movement, and you really are in the flow of just focusing on your thought at that point, and you really don't have to worry about anything else. I mean, overall, just focus, and learning how to focus through stress, which we all endure stress every day.
Yeah, and I would agree. It's definitely a form of self-care, stress reducing. And then if you're somebody that likes to work out with weights or does a lot of cardio or sits a lot at your desk or on your couch, like I feel like I've been doing a lot of lately, your body, or at least I feel it, my body's like, what are you doing to me? Get your butt to class. Like, yeah, that's why she's like, get her over here. You have to keep in, I won't say it. Yoga provides a platform where you're able to use many areas of your body and mind to rebalance. So, kind of like the Ninja Red, when I don't have yoga for a while, I'm like, okay, something's off. Because there's certain poses that, like down dog, for instance, you can't really activate those muscles by standing up.
No, you have to. Yeah, downward dog.
And then when you get into it, it's uncomfortable at first.
For sure.
Like when you're getting into the practice, but
Oh,
then
yeah.
after a while, it's like, down dog, this is amazing. Like,
It's the best spot once you get into the practice.
yeah, yeah.
One more thing I gotta add. It's really good to take that stress away.
To class and diffuse it. Yes.
Quick plug. So, thank you for tuning into this episode. I hope we can help take your stress away with these yoga tips. And tune into next episode as we'll have a new topic for you. And be sure to check out the content relating to yoga. We'll have some interesting things that we brainstormed here a little bit. Links are in the description at Revolutionary Wellness and Kristen's Instagram. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.